If you watched Lilo and Stitch, you know that the most beloved destruction machine in cartoons has a bunch of cousins. Actually, he has over 600 of them. Are you ready to meet the coolest and most iconic experiments created by Dr. Jumba? Of course, we have to start with him. The most famous of them all, number 626, also known as Stitch. Created by Dr. Jumba Jukiba, this little blue alien might look cute, but he's basically a living weapon. And the higher the experiment number, the more dangerous it is. Stitch has insane strength, like lifting 3,000 times his own weight without even breaking a sweat. He's practically indestructible, with one exception: water. His body is so dense it sinks like a rock, which is, at the very least, ironic, since he lives on an island surrounded by ocean. But the most impressive part isn't even the strength or the combat skills. It's his mind. Stitch thinks faster than a supercomputer, which technically makes him a genius. Just a very mischievous genius. He uses that big brain to cause chaos all the time. And in the middle of all that, he still has one unexpected weakness: his love for a little girl named Lilo. His heart is as big as his rap sheet. And our love here is for you, who follows the channel. So grab some popcorn, subscribe to the channel, because now we're going to check out the craziest Lilo and Stitch experiments, right here on Zigzag. Now it's time for one of the most famous among the fans. Experiment 625, also known as Reuben. He was created right before Stitch and has exactly the same powers. Insane strength, durability, out-of-this-world intelligence. All identical. But there's one detail. Reuben couldn't care less about using any of that. He's lazy, always lounging around, and only thinks about making sandwiches. Even though he works with the villain Gantu, who's always trying to capture Stitch, Reuben was never really evil. Actually, he just wants peace, good food, and zero responsibility. A powerful genius who decided the best use for all that talent was making the perfect snack. I bet we've got a lot of Reubens in the comments, huh? Let us know if you also feel represented by the lazy badass genius. The next experiment on the list is 624. And as soon as the mad scientist Jumba found out she was on Earth, he let out a big, "Oh no," because that meant big trouble. Her name is Angel, and yes, she's basically a pink female version of Stitch. But don't be fooled by her cute appearance. Angel's power is singing a song that turns anyone into a villain. She can hypnotize almost all the experiments, except the ones with a higher number than hers. Then you think, wait, so Stitch is safe, right? He's 626. But there's a little detail. Stitch is head over heels in love with her. And when love enters the equation, all logic goes out the window. In the Lilo and Stitch series, the two even start dating, even after Angel tricks everyone and works for the bad guys. Later, she regrets it and switches sides, but she's still one of the most dangerous experiments. And since she's officially Stitch's love interest, you can bet she's showing up in the next movie. I mean, who doesn't want to see this chaotic couple back on the big screen? Would you like to see her in the next Lilo and Stitch live action? Then comment with the hashtag Angel so we can build the hype for Disney. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. The last experiment created by Dr. Jumba was number 629, and his name is Leroy. Basically, it's like Stitch has a red and even more dangerous version. Besides having the same powers as 626, Leroy can disguise himself as if he were Stitch himself, even changing his body color to blue. In other words, it's easy to get confused. But it's not all brute strength. He also has a bizarre weakness. When he hears a specific song, his nervous system collapses and he immediately passes out. Leroy was created on the orders of Dr. Hamsterveal, the real villain of the story, and made his debut in the movie Leroy and Stitch back in 2006. And yes, he almost managed to wipe everyone out, if it weren't for that saving musical hit. Dr. Jumba really was an extremely busy guy. Did you know that each of these numbers means he created a whole experiment with a specific goal in mind? And since there are so many, nobody knows exactly the name of all of them. So we're only showing a few. Do you know any that weren't shown in the video? Then comment down below. But before Dr. Jumba officially started making these experiments, his first prototype is the most dangerous, and it's known only as Experiment 0. The creature is so sinister that he improved himself with robotic parts, literally becoming a cyborg, and he appears in Stitch's anime. And speaking of that anime, The first official experiment that Dr. Jumba created was number 001, which is the shrinker, and you've probably already guessed what his power is. He can literally shrink things until they become really tiny, but don't worry, because he can also make things, or people, go back to normal. It can be dangerous, but not as much as the next on the list. Experiment 33 is called Hummerhead. Well, Doctor, Jumba is not very creative with names, right? And why make a creature that can hammer things with its face if real hammers literally exist for that exact purpose, without the risk of being dangerous and having a mind of their own? If you were Jumba, what experiment would you create? Tell us in the comments. For sure this one would be created by someone. 007 is Gigi, who looks like a cute Shih Tzu, and is the only one who doesn't look anything like Stitch and his other cousins. She may seem like a friendly little dog, but you would be completely wrong to think that, because she was created with only one goal in mind: to be annoying. That's exactly what you heard. Gigi was created to keep barking and making noise all the time, just to bother and drive everyone around crazy. But luckily, Jumba was dumb and made a Shih Tzu, and not a husky, right? Could you stand an experiment like that screaming in your ear all day? Then subscribe to the channel to activate the mute button and shut that creature up. Experiment 221 is known as Sparky, but he might as well be called Angry Outlet. This little yellow monster came into the world with a mission: to cause electrical surges so intense they'd make any electrician quit just from looking at him. Literally a walking short circuit. And yes, he was among the first 624 experiments that Jumba hid on Earth, like someone hiding chocolate in the back of a drawer. When Lilo and Stitch activated Sparky's pod in the bathtub, the idea was noble: recharge the ship and go rescue Jumba, who had been kidnapped by Gantu. But Sparky thought, did you say save the scientist? I heard destroy the entire house. And that's exactly what he did before running off across the island like a lightning bolt with legs. Experiment 010 goes by the name Felix, but he should be called Psycho Janitor. He was created to make everything sparkle, sterilized, and without a single speck of dust. The problem is that he doesn't know how to tell the difference between dirt and people. So, if you spill food on your clothes, get ready to be vaporized. For a while, Jumba managed to tweak him and reprogrammed Felix to become obsessed with filth instead of cleanliness, which didn't help much either, because then he started collecting garbage like it was modern art. After that, he ended up being captured by Gantu, but was rescued in the episode Snafu. Even though he didn't get a permanent home in the original series, the Stitch anime solved that mess and gave Felix a new purpose: becoming a mobile recycling service. In other words, he stopped trying to scrub people clean and started saving the planet. Applause for him. Experiment 020 goes by the name Slick, and he's one of the most dangerous for your wallet. This pink alien with a tie was created with a very specific ability: to sell anything to anyone. But it's not just the kind of salesman charm that works at the farmer's market. No, Slick's power is almost hypnotic. He can convince even a robot to buy sand in the desert, and the worst part? People don't even realize they're being manipulated. Before you know it, you've bought 3 umbrellas, a potato squeezer, and a bunch of online courses from a quantum coach. So if a charismatic alien shows up out of nowhere wanting to chat, you already know, run. Because Slick isn't evil. He just wants to teach you how to pay for your coffee by making a day trade.